Okay, here we're not going to do compound interest. We're going to do something a little bit different, but we're going to use a very similar formula, almost exactly the same. Here we are going to talk about depreciation. Let me just get the pencil here. Depreciation. Now we've talked about this in class before. Depreciation means when something, a product or an item, loses its cost over time. The perfect example is if you ever buy a brand new car, the value of the car goes down as soon as you drive it out of the showroom. And as the years go by, the value of the car falls. So depreciation is something that happens to goods. Things lose their value. And you have to be able to calculate what something would be worth after 2 years if it loses its value by a certain percentage each year, say. So the question we have up here is we're told a machine costs 15,000 euros brand new, and if it depreciated in value by 15% per annum, so 15% each year, 15% of its value was lost because it was getting older and more outdated. Find its value at the end of 2 years. Now, you can do this the long way, which is where you find 15% of 15,000, you subtract it, and then you find 15% of the new amount, and then you subtract that again. But you can also use the compound interest formula if you change it in an ever so slight way. So the compound interest formula begins like this: F is equal to P, bracket 1, and then the compound interest formula has a plus. Here I'm going to put in a minus, and let's put in the rate. Now this isn't the interest, this is kind of rate of depreciation. So here R stands for rate of depreciation, which is still the percentage. And then close bracket, and then we put N up here. So N is the number of years we want to figure out. So here we don't know the final cost. That's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to find out what it's worth after 2 years. We do know the price of the machine. The machine costs 15,000 euros. 1, 2, 3. And we have the 1 and minus. Now, just like the compound interest, we are going to change the percentage, which is 15%. We're going to change that to become a decimal. So we move the decimal point 2 places. So it becomes 0.15. And then N is the number of years we're looking for. So here it says 2. We're looking for 2 years. So now we just need to figure out this sum. So F is equal to 15,000, 1, 2, 3. And then 1 minus 0.15 leaves you with 0.85. And that's the power of 2, also known as squared. So now we just get our calculators. And just like the compound interest calculation, we square the number. We put it to the power of 3 first, but here we're squaring it. So to the power of 2, and that's 0.7225. So 7225. So I'll just put that over here, 0.7225. This is 0.85 squared. Okay, the 15,000 is still here, 1, 2, 3, and F is equal to it. Now, all we have to do is go back to our calculator, and we have this already here, so all I have to do now is multiply this by 15,000, 1, 2, 3, and we find out that the price or the value of the machine after 2 years is 10,837 euros and 50 cents. 10,837.50. So it's 10,837.5, which is 50 cents. Calculators don't always add a 0 on because they don't know you're dealing in number or in money. So here we have how to calculate the depreciation of a good using a very similar formula to the compound interest formula. Now, I have another sum here. I want you to pause and have a go at part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is just like the sum we just did. Part 2 is a little bit different. I won't say any more, but you've done similar sums and I want you to have a go with it and see how you go. Okay, so pause it now and come back. All right, so let's have a look at number 1 first. Number 1, if a van is bought for 23,000, well, let's put out our formula first. F is equal to P, so price of the van was 23,000, 1, 2, 3, and find its value at the end of 3 years. What's the percentage? The percentage is 20%. So that is 1 minus, now we're going to turn that into a decimal. Move the decimal point 2 places to the left. 1 minus 0.2. And then to the power of how many years? 3 years. So to the power of 3. Just tie this up. There we go. So now F is equal to 23,000. 1, 2, 3. And 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8. And that's to the power of 3. So let's get our calculator and clear this. And we have 0.8 to the power of 3. 0.512. So now we have 0.512, 0.512, and that's still in brackets because it has to be multiplied by the 23,000. And the F equals, okay, we're ready to put this into the calculator. So multiply this by 23,123 equals 11,776. 11,776. 11,776. So after 3 years with the depreciation of 20% per year, the van is only worth 11,776 euros. So that's the first sum. Now, the second sum is slightly different, but it's similar to another sum you should have done before this video. Here, we know it says if the value of the van is 11,520 after 2 years, find its value when new. So assume it's a different van, but the van is still depreciating by 20% each year. So if the value of the van is this after 2 years, find the value when new. So the value when new is F. Sorry, ignore that. The value when new is P. So we don't know what P is, but we know what F is. So in this sum, we know what the final value is, and that's 11,520. But we don't know what P is, the price of it when it's new. Now 1 is still there, and it's minus the 20%, which as a decimal is 0.2, and it's after 2 years, so to the power of 2. So we have 11,520 equals P, and it's 0.8 squared, or to the power of 2. So let's clear this. That is, let's put this up here, 11,000. Getting ahead of myself. First, I have to square the 0.8. 0.8 to the power of 2 equals 0.64. Now, that is 0.64. And P is still there, and 11,520. Now, I want to get rid of the 0.64 on this side, and I want this number to be divided by 0.64. So, just like the previous sums we did, where we knew the final investment. In the previous video, we knew the final investment, but we didn't know the principal. We're doing the same technique here. We're dividing this by 0.64, and we're also dividing this by 0.64. As long as we divide both sides by the same amount, we're allowed to do this. So we put a line through there because that cancels with that, and then we're left with 11,520 divided by 0.64, and that will give us what P is. So we just need to go back to our calculator. 11,520. Actually, I'm just going to clear this because 11,520 divided by 0.64, and that will give us 18,000. So the price of the van when new, this van, was 18,000. And that's the two types of depreciation sums that you're gonna need to know how to do. Okay.